Hey guys, now you can follow me on Facebook. Just go to facebook.com/UltraMaximusReviews. In association with nerdaddiction.com.
Ooh, look, it's Jurassic Park!
You are fucked.
Wait, no!
You suck. Hello YouTube, Ultra Maximus back with another toy review, and today we're taking a look at a full set of Transformers Power of the Prime figures. It's the Dinobots. Now I'm very excited about this because this is the third complete Dinobot set that I have. Two sets are Bayformers, the Skittles, what I call the Skittle set of Dinobots, and the G1-esque colored ones that come with the pop-up Arc playset. But these are my first G1 style Dinobots, and I'm really, really excited. Now I kind of want to go back and get the original G1 Dinobots. With them re-releasing vintage Transformers at like Walmart, and I think maybe Target, maybe we'll get a set of new Dinobots. I don't know. But these guys definitely look cool together. I am digging them, even though they have their flaws and I complain about some of them. I do like them, and I think they look good together. And they're definitely going to go up on my display shelf in these Dinobot forms, but they do form a larger robot, which is something a lot of G1 fans have been wanting since the original series. They were kind of built to counter Devastator, but they never merged in the old cartoon, and everybody wanted the Dinobots to be a combiner for some reason. And I used to call that, because I used to draw it when I was a kid, and I'd call him Dino King, but this incarnation is called Volcanicus. Which I hated that name at first. I was like, I'm just going to call this guy Dino King, which there is a Dino King, I think, in Transformers Master Force. But Volcanicus, it's starting to wear on me, and I'm getting used to it, I guess. And we'll take a look at that here in a minute, but first let's look at the set of Dinobots together. So we got Sludge right here. Here we have Slag, or Slug, or whatever you want to call him nowadays. Looking kind of cool. And then we have Snarl here. So these are kind of the main bulky herbivore bots, which is pretty cool. Definitely digging these guys. This guy should be the biggest though. Oh, he's so tiny. And then we've got Grimlock, who is the largest Dinobot, and he always was in the original toys. He is, of course, the leader of the Dinobots. My biggest issue with this guy, he's got the fat butt with the big salamander tail, which looks weird. And then we have Swoop right here, and he's got some issues with some loose parts on his head, but quite frankly, I think he's the best looking Dinobot. Out of the 5 here, I would say my favorite Dino mode like this would have to be Swoop. My number 2 pick would probably go to Snarl here. Then I would say Grimlock, because I really do like the front design of this guy. The head looks amazing. It's the tail that I just don't care about. And then I would say that Slag here would be next, and then poor little Sludge, he would be last on the totem pole. But that being said, they do look good together. And if you're wondering, because I talked to a few Transformers fans online, my buddy James I was talking to, he actually had pictures of these guys that he compared of these guys to the G1 figures, which are very, very cool. And I will go ahead and show those off here. These are courtesy of James Fisher. So definitely very cool to see how these guys compare to the original G1 Dinobots. James, thank you so much for sharing those pictures. Very, very cool. He is a fantastic photographer and just a great Canadian guy. Thanks, man. I don't know what to do without you, eh? And without further ado, let's go ahead and get these Dinobots combined finally and merge into Volcanicus. So here we have Volcanicus merged into his robot mode, and it's kind of gangly. It's not the best combiner, it's not the worst combiner. My biggest issues are the fact that it feels like the upper shoulder pieces need to clamp together better. They just feel like they come loose when you go to move the arms around. And the fact that he just needs to be the size of Devastator, and he's like maybe half the size of Devastator. Which I find kind of disappointing, but it is cool that we actually get a Dinobot combiner. You know, this is something a lot of G1 fans have been wanting. Articulation is basically the same that we get out of the other combiners like this from the Combiner Wars. He's got the same type of sockets right here, and the same kind of clip-on sockets at the shoulders and at the knees. He bends at the knees. There's little tiny ratchets up here at his waist, and then his head can move left to right, and that's really about it. Now you can get some articulation, of course, in his hands. What I do like about this combiner is that you can switch all the legs around as you want. This is the official design of it, apparently, but you can switch it out so that these guys can be arms and these guys can be legs. He came with a actual feet instead of like the Stunticons where the feet and hands were both. I like this design a little bit better, and the extra hands kind of fill in the gaps on his chest. And that unto itself is very cool. So taking a closer look at the figure itself, I do like the design of his head sculpt here. I think that looks pretty good. It looks like Grimlock with his crown, so that is very nice, very cool. I'm definitely digging that. I like how we got Grimlock's head here in the middle. I really like the shoulder here with snarl. I like the tail out like that. Personally, I think Swoop's wings should have been on the back, kind of a la Predaking. I think that would have been kind of cool. That's the way I probably would have designed it, and then combined maybe Swoop and Grimlock here on the chest piece. That would have been kind of cool. And then maybe put maybe Slag or somebody up here. But overall, I think it's pretty decent. I like it. You know, it works pretty well. The one thing I will say is that I do like the back of the figure here. It's very flat. There's nothing, there's no robot kibble or anything like that on it, so that is very, very cool. Definitely dig that. Very surprising for a combiner. I think they did a good job there. I also like the fact that the additional hands fill in the gaps of the chest. Without those on there, he looks really, really skinny in the middle. The big wrestling belt logo there looks pretty cool. And then one of my buddies on Facebook, he said that once you see the Bayformer's wheelie in the body, this being his eyes and the mouth and then his antennas, you can't unsee it. So there you go. That's for you guys. So taking a look at the middle section of the figure, again, he's got his wrestling belt right there. I like how the tail forms the legs of the figure. And again, the tail's pretty large, but they have the duty of making the big heavy legs, which works. I definitely dig that. The fact that Snarl's arm right there, I definitely dig that with the plates. You know, he could stab somebody with his forearm. I think it's kind of cool. Now, Swoop's legs on this side, they're just kind of bleh right there. I guess you could probably transform those into some guns or something, or mount some guns there. I think that would have been a little cooler. Backside of the figure, again, nice and flat, especially the back of the legs. No robot kibble. I really appreciate that, and that's just almost unheard of in a combiner toy, which is very, very cool. And finally, taking a look at the legs of the figure, so we've got Slag and Sludge down here as your base figures, which work pretty well. I like that. They have very similar body designs, which works. The fact that we get actual feet for the figure, very nice. I've got the Dinobot Matrix in there, or the Combined Spark, or whatever it's called, in there, in that foot. I kind of wish that would fit up here in the upper part of the body, but it is what it is, I guess. But overall, it's pretty stable. I like it. They work. They stand up pretty well. He's a little wobbly, but most combiners are. And again, I love the fact that we have very little robot kibble on the back. Both tails fold up, so that makes it look nice and symmetrical, and they connect in the same type of way like the aerial bots or Stumpticons or any of the other bots do, so that works for me. And again, the fact that the feet there come separate from the hands, I'm definitely digging that, and they got kind of the three toes like a dinosaur, so that into itself is pretty cool, and it makes for a nice, stable figure. For comparison, here we have a Volcanicus next to Power Master Optimus Prime, which is a leader class figure, and as you can see, he's a lot taller than Optimus, which is good for a combiner. Again, he's not as tall as I'd like him to be. I want the Dinobots to combat Devastator, so I wanted him to be Devastator size. Like, these should all be the size of the Predacons or the Constructicons. But if you're putting him on an Autobot shelf, he'll actually work out pretty well. So is Volcanicus a figure that you want in your Transformers collection? Well, it's an easy pass. If you really wanted a Dinobot combiner from Hasbro, there you go. You got him. Personally, I liked the Dinobots individually. They're definitely going to go on the shelf as a group of Dinobots. But it is kind of fun that you can put them together. I do like that. It just, I don't know. I like the head design on him. It just could have been done a little bit better, and it could have been done a lot bigger. So there he is, Volcanicus from Transformers Power of the Primes.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you like this video, thumbs it up. If you hate this video, thumbs it down. To watch more Ultra Maximus, click on the links to the right. Don't forget to subscribe and share, like us on Facebook, and look for more videos in the future.